What is up, Ravens Flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. Chance and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell, and as always, DK running the show in the background. This episode, we're here to talk about, first of all, we're here to celebrate Lamar Jackson having his number retired at the University of Louisville, and the beauty of it is now two Baltimore Hall of Fame quarterback, one Hall of Fame quarterback and one. Trajectory-wise, he's certainly on his way. Two Baltimore quarterbacks, nonetheless, have had their numbers retired at the University of Louisville. Of course, Unitas being the first, and now Lamar Jackson. But a little bit of, I don't know if controversy is the right word, but there's been some news coming out after
scuttlebutt.
Yeah, a little bit after Lamar Jackson's speech today. So, Jimmy, why don't you fill everyone in on what the rumblings have been about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure that all of you in the Ravens flock watched Lamar Jackson's speech as his number was retired at Louisville, and it was awesome. The one thing that he said that's getting some traction is that he said, you guys always supported me, you never booed me. And he referenced a time where he threw an interception. I think it was his first play ever as a quarterback at Louisville. And they were playing Auburn. I think they were playing. And he said, I threw an interception, but you guys never booed me. You've always supported me throughout my journey in Louisville and continue to do so in the NFL. So really the reason it's controversial in some people's eyes is because some people are saying that was a shot towards the Ravens fans. Now, the Ravens fans haven't had too much to boo about when it comes to Lamar Jackson. And if they had, it's a personal qualm that they have with Lamar, not a football qualm. Mm-hmm. But so Glenn, what do you, I think that what they're referring to? Okay, so let me say this: I don't think Lamar was referencing the Baltimore Ravens fans. Do you think he was referencing the Baltimore Ravens fans?
No. I think he was probably just pointing out that even at my worst, you guys always supported me.
Mm-hmm.
And the same can't be said when you look around the country, the league, depending on what level of football you're looking at, there are times when the fan base has had enough with a player, with a offensive unit entirely, where they will make their voice heard and the boo birds will come out. But I agree with you. I don't think he was taking any shot at the Ravens. I think the Ravens fans, I should say. I think Lamar Jackson loves the Ravens fans, and I think obviously the Ravens fans love him back.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that's being cited, of course, in Twitterverse, guys, is the 2019 – wait, not 2019.
Yeah, it actually was in the 2019 calendar year. It was in January.
Oh, right. But it was his rookie year when he took over for Joe, and then we played the Chargers in the first round of the playoffs at home. First of all, miraculously getting to playoffs going, what did we go, 6-1?
Yeah, down the stretch, yeah.
And Lamar got us into the playoffs, got us the AFC North crown to get us a home game where we played a Chargers team that we had just narrowly beaten a few weeks back, and it's always hard to beat a team twice. And Lamar's going up against that team. Going into the fourth quarter, first possession, we only have 3 points. That Lamar's stats also didn't look bad, didn't look good. And there's a part where Joe Flacco puts his helmet on, and people are booing because, people interpret it this way, because Lamar Jackson is coming back on the field and not Joe Flacco. Mm-hmm. So first of all, let me just say really quickly, I think part of their booing wasn't just that. I think part of their booing was not allowing Lamar Jackson to push the ball down the field in moments when they knew. A lot of people, I think, knew he had the ability to, and wanted him to kind of let it loose a little bit, which we finally saw at the end of the game. Ended up being too late. But what was your take there, Glenn? So first of all, there's two things. Were the Ravens fans booing Lamar Jackson, you think, at that moment?
I think the Ravens fans were booing the offense. I mean, you got to remember, this team had 0 points at halftime in that game, and they had 3 points after 3 quarters. Boo. So, it's certainly justified if Ravens fans want to boo the offense as a whole. I mean, you put up 3 points in a playoff game at home through 3 quarters, you deserve to be booed as an offense, in my opinion. I mean, disappointing start. But let's just say, because here's the thing, there were probably at least a few fans that were booing Lamar going in.
Sure.
I think there was at least it's hard to put a number on, but I'm sure there were some who were hoping to see Joe Flacco. But let me just remind everyone, at that point, Joe Flacco is, he was beloved here in Baltimore for bringing a Super Bowl here, and not just bringing a Super Bowl, but being a very huge reason why that Super Bowl was won here. I mean, he was the Super Bowl MVP and had the most historic run in postseason history as a quarterback. So he was beloved, and his, the reputation he earned was that he was awesome in the playoffs. Now, if you really dive into the stats, his first few trips to the playoffs say the contrary, but Ravens fans don't want to remember that. They only remember, it's a lot of times like when a relative passes, you only remember the good times, right?
Yeah.
Well, the same was when they saw Joe Flacco, they were moving on from Joe Flacco. Fans nostalgically remember the Super Bowl run. They don't remember the struggles in the postseason. They only remember that fantastic run. So there were probably fans that were wishing that Joe would come into that game and maybe bring some life to that offense, an offense that only had 3 points to that at that point. So I don't necessarily think that this was like Ravens fans like, get him out of here. We don't want Lamar Jackson. No, it's just they wanted to win this game. They wanted to advance in the playoffs. And at that point, with 3 points on the board up to then, they didn't necessarily think that this offense was getting it done. So maybe they were just up for trying anything new. But I do think the vast majority of those boos were for the offense as a whole.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. And you know what? The reason we're doing this video is because of the people that are speculating that Lamar, of course, took a shot, in his most recent retiring of his number, and took a shot of the Ravens fans and referenced what Glenn just explained. Let me say something. Shame. All the people on Twitter are saying, where are the Ravens fans that booed Lamar Jackson? I wonder what they're up to today. Shame on them. Shame on this. Shame on that. Shame on you is what I will say for speculating about something that I am 100% confident that I would bet my house that Lamar Jackson was not saying. I don't think Lamar Jackson, like we said at the beginning, was taking any shots at the Ravens fans. This is what I think he was exactly referencing, Glenn. Think about this. Lamar Jackson, and correct me, DK or Glenn, if I'm wrong, but Lamar Jackson went to Louisville, and he said it when he was mic'd up at the Pro Bowl. The one reason he went to Louisville is because he wanted to play right away.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got to Louisville, think about how unproven he was in the NFL. Imagine that in college. He's coming in as a true freshman. He's what? 17, 18 years old, a skinny kid that looks like a basketball player out of South Florida. And they're like, they don't know this kid. They have no idea who he is. And so what I think he was referencing is the fact that literally he hadn't hit anything close to what he would end up hitting as far as stardom and popularity in college when he just started out, and they were supportive of him. He was much less of a known commodity back then than even the Ravens taking a chance on him, right? Like even when the Ravens took a chance on him, he was a Heisman winner. And possibly certainly statistically one of the best seasons as a quarterback we've ever seen in our lifetimes in college, right?
Yep.
So my point in saying all that is simply what he was referencing was the fact that no one knew anything about me. You guys gave me a shot. Like that's what it was. And that's all I think it was. So all you guys are saying, shame on the Ravens fans for booing Lamar Jackson back then, this, that, and the other. No, you can count me in that camp as I wasn't booing Lamar Jackson. I wanted to see number 5 out there because just exactly like you said, Glenn, I had all the hopes and dreams of Joe Flacco and the Mile High Miracle of him whipping it down the field, of him hitting somebody in the middle of the field on a seam route, whatever, right? And we weren't seeing it at that moment. But gosh dang it. Why did I say gosh dang it? It sounded like from Minnesota. The point is that I think it's the shame belongs to the people that are speculating and trying to drive a wedge between Lamar Jackson and his fans. It's ridiculous. I hate it. It. You have nothing else better to do.
It's not going to work.
Stupidity. It's
not going to work because Lamar Jackson is not. He's not going to buy into any of that crap. He knows the love he gets here in Baltimore, and I'm sure he was more referring to the treatment that some college players get around the country, more so than even in the NFL, because we see it. We see it often. I mean, just at Oklahoma, we see their fans screaming for a different quarterback just this past weekend. I mean, they were chanting the other quarterback's name.
Ugh, brutal.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is something that happens around the country, especially in college. And so I think he was just referencing like, look, even when I was a young freshman who nobody bought into, I wasn't heavily recruited by these really big time programs. No, you guys believed in me and you guys stuck with me. So yeah, I'm not buying into that at all. I do think it was it's interesting that people are trying to
make something out of nothing,
exactly.
right? They're making a mountain out of a molehill.
Exactly. It was not a shot at the Ravens fans. And I think the tattoo that stretches across Lamar Jackson's chest can kind of prove his love and affinity for this organization when he has purple feathers tattooed across his chest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't really think there's anything else to say other than the fact that I think Lamar Jackson loves playing here. I think he is smart enough to know that when a quarterback is drafted, not 90%, I'll call it 3/4 of what contributes to your success is your situation, not just your skill. I mean, we've seen quarterback after quarterback after quarterback be driven into retirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or just injury, perpetual injury because the situation isn't right. Look, Mac Jones is playing well. Probably the best situation of all the quarterbacks that got drafted in the first round, potentially, right? Like that's a solid argument you make. Lamar Jackson came here and was the best situation for his career. Now you can also say Lamar Jackson would be successful anywhere because somebody would be stupid not to mold their offense to him. But Greg Roman is, you guys are gonna kill me for this, but Greg Roman on paper is the perfect OC for Lamar Jackson. Like, say what you want about it. But, he was salivating when he had Colin Kaepernick and did what he did with Cap. And then he saw Lamar coming out and he was like, dude, you know what I'm about to do with Lamar Jackson? Like, and they just went on to set records.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. So, at that point, he was just the run, Greg Roman was just the run game coordinator. So Marty Mornhinweg was still calling plays then. So it wasn't truly the Lamar Jackson offense that we've, fallen in love with over the last couple seasons here. But let us know what you guys think. Do you guys think Lamar Jackson was, I don't know if taking a shot, but do you think he was referencing Ravens fans when saying Louisville fans had never booed him? Do you think this was a situation where people are trying to make something out of nothing and cause some sort of a rift? But let us know all your thoughts on this situation in the comments below, and we will talk soon.
See ya.